Are you ready? You've come to the right place. This is the Makopo podcast. We're so happy you're here.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning into the Makopo podcast. If it's your first time listening, here is your extra immersive. And if it's not your first time, I'm going to get my lovely guest to give us an extra immersive. Can you just say extra immersive?
Extra
immersive. So today we're having a special episode where it is Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to all the mothers celebrating. No matter when you are watching this, I think this is something cool that maybe you yourself could do one day with your own mom, where I'm just gonna ask you some questions, and I think these questions will be important for me, just be able to learn some things. Maybe you may say some things that I've never heard you say before. Okay. So I'm just going to ask you to be open and then to share a bit of your life with all of us who will be watching.
Okay.
So here are 7 questions I'm going to ask you, and I just ask you to be open about them and just share with me. So question number 1 is, what was life like for you growing up?
I consider a good life. I consider a well taken care of life. I appreciate my parents so much for the sacrifice. I've seen them. You know, we were 6 of us, and all siblings. They worked so hard, you know, to give us a healthy perspective to life, and just to be able to interact with people outside family. We had a very strict dad and a loving mother, and that combination for us, it brought what we see now today. So I do not have any regrets. And even when they laid to rest, when I looked at them and, you know, as they were lying on their caskets, I knew very well they owe me nothing. They've given their best. And it was a loving family, and love was communicated, you know, not just in words, but also in deeds, you know. So I consider that a blessing. Yeah, it really was a blessing.
Yeah, so growing up with 6 siblings, what would you say were the positives and the challenges of having 6 siblings around?
It was 4 boys before me, and I was the first girl that came up. So for me, the reception to the world was excitement. Everybody was excited for my arrival. So I got all the attention and all the love. But there were also those issues where as we were growing older, you know, this thing of saying, because you are a girl, do this. You are a girl, do this. No, girls don't do this. So, but my mom was very quick to correct it. So, because they knew they grew up washing dishes and all of these things. So it was as if now I must take over their responsibilities when I grew older.
Yeah.
And my mom was very quick to say, no ways, you know, you leave, things continue as they were. Yeah, so it really was also a sense of being covered by the males, you know, like in the streets when the boys would be very rough and very unkind to us. I knew I had backup, you know, and I would call my brothers to come in and fight for me. So that was the greatest. And I grew up with a sense that a man is to protect the woman, you know. So that's where I got it from home. because my brothers were everywhere. You look to east, there's a brother. West, no. Hey, I was covered.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that actually was a thing I cherish even today.
Yeah.
Even today.
And then was there a change when then the last sibling came? Was it?
And then the last sibling came and it was a girl.
Yeah.
And now the attention was like focused on her. And like, but it really was for me also the fact that there's now another girl.
Yeah.
I have a friend, then, and more so that the age gap was not too wide.
Yeah.
So we just clicked. We are clicking. So it truly was a flow. But the one thing I know about her was like she's a genius. Like I would call genius. Yes. So when it's the story I always tell, when she came and the school reports, she was on top of things. And a student.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she was just on top. And that increased the attention on her.
Okay.
So to a certain degree, that affected the esteem I had of myself. And then I started feeling that I'm not as best as I thought I was. But, we grew up and my parents did their best to not, bring that contrast in attention. But it was only during the time of reports. And I was like, Auntie, what's happening here? Yeah, but I think what parents need to always be mindful of is that, when you raise your kids, you must never have a moment when you get taken over by outward performances and just recognize a child for who the child is.
Yeah.
Because you can just slip, into paying attention to the great you see in the other and forget that what is great in another might not be great in this one, but there's something else that's great in the next.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think now we talk about it a lot and we laugh because she's now the one who's running to me.
Okay.
For most things. I've become a mother to her.
Yeah. And I think what I like that you just said is a good segue, as they say, moving into the next question, because this is 7 questions asking your mother on Mother's Day. I want to ask, what do you remember from your first few days of motherhood? Now, I'm the second born, so with Palesa, the first few days when you were recently a mother, can you say, what do you remember from those first few, you're now a mother for the very first time? How are you feeling? I just want to, can you maybe bring the mic a bit closer?
Closer.
Yeah.
Okay. We have been reading a book, Parenting is Not for Cowards by James Dobson. So as I was expecting her, I was reading a lot. And I was very much looking forward to it, and I actually thought it was just going to be a breeze and this baby is going to look at me and smile at me and, everything easy. Oh. And then she started crying and she started, when I held her, it was because she was premature. So fragile. I was like, I don't know what to do with this. I was in hospital. My mom was not there. So even the first feed, I remember because I had to use a bottle. I mixed the formula and closed there's this lid. You have to shake it. But after shaking, you must remove the lid. And feed the baby. Mina, I forgot to remove like for the whole day. So I I always tell her, I was like, when your first day here, you took a fast.
A forced
A
fast.
forced fast. You shouldn't have a problem with fasting. Yeah, but it's a bit of that struggle that we don't talk too much about. The sleeplessness, the tiredness, and the overwhelm, the fragility of the child, and will you make it? When you feel that heart beat, you're like, you look at the baby and you're like, is she still breathing? Is she, because the breathing is so slow and so gentle.
Yeah.
It's a bit scary, but also very exciting. I was excited to be a mother. I was excited because I was looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking forward to it. Despite all these other things that were going on, I was really, really, really looking forward to hold my own. Yeah, and
so it was like a mixture of the overwhelming but still very exciting at the same time.
Very exciting. Yeah, it was a joy. It really was a joy. And just the amazement, to look at the whole human being, partnering with God and God forming. You're like, the complexity of everything forming and coming together. And you're like, Kanjani, so Maria, like, God, you are God.
Yeah.
Look at this human being. And they say she looks like me. Okay, it's mine. So it was a joy.
Yeah.
It's really, really, the first thing I remember with her was her lips. I remember it was the one thing I always liked to touch. I was like, oh, these lips, Yeah, but it really was, it was something beautiful.
Yeah.
The wonders of God, and, to work with you to bring about a human soul.
Yeah.
Wow. There is nothing like that. The things that you don't understand. When God does it with you, it's amazing. And I think that's why mothers are the way they are. Very, they say, overly protective. It's also because of what goes on, because it begins when the baby starts moving inside of you and you're like, what is this? Well, when it's moving, it's actually, you go for a scan and like, hey, there's a human being inside of you.
Yeah.
It just becomes so real when it's you. When it's not something you're reading about, watching somewhere. It's happening right here.
Yeah. I think I wanted to ask then the next question is, what has been your favorite memory of us?
Hey, I've got so many. I've got so many. I think when we started, we had made up our minds that we will open doors, of experience. So, like, my favorite time has been, because of also the gap between the two was not so big. So, number one, it was bedtime. Bedtime. When it's time to go to bed.
That's your fondest memory of us?
Yes, I'm starting at the beginning.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there would be that bond between the two of you. I get you were sleeping in the same room.
I'm saying me and you.
Yes, sorry.
Yes, yeah.
Of you, me and you.
Yes.
Once we were at the mega city, and we were buying, Clicks had, I don't know if you guys would remember, Clicks had sweets, ne? Different kinds of sweets. And you got in the store, and then I was watching you picking for yourself what you wanted, and you had a whole bowl of chocolate, and you actually knew what you wanted. You did not just take everything. You took what you wanted. And at that moment, I just knew that this one knows, he's going to know who he is and what he wants out of life. And then we went into the store, and that day I bought all of them. And you were sitting in the car and you were opening all of them. All of them. You taste a little bit of this one, throw it away. Taste a little, all of them. So I was so happy that I could do that, and discover that. Because one of the things the books we read, had said, give your child an opportunity to be themselves and to explore life for themselves without you leading them. And that was the one thing for me. I thought, she's exploring and I am able to let him explore. And it was for me a win. It was for me a win that, wow, look at him. He is able, to choose that for himself. But also, growing older, going out together for dinner has been like one of the greatest. And the moments we just sit down and talk, heart to heart, that to me was and still is one of the fondest moments to want to hear what is at the deepest of seat of your heart. It makes so much sense, because as a parent you want to be there. You want to be there because also you want to know what to pray for. Sometimes the things you say is not actually the things you're saying with your mouth. I think God gives a parent insight into hearing more than what the child is saying. But one of the moments I loved was picking you from school. Because the routine I had was to always bring a goodie. And then watching you run to the car was like the greatest, was like the greatest to see you running to the car. And it was like you embrace your child, she's running to you and running to his world and running to home, So it made home to be something very important and the foundation of who you are. It is one thing I will not forget, because you would ask, what did you bring for me today? And it would always be that I've brought something for you.
Yeah. Okay, so we had to cut the video a bit because my niece Nali is here sleeping. She was sleeping and we woke her up. So we're going to continue with her here.
Yes, do our best.
We'll do our best. So the question is, what do you wish most? What do you wish most for your children? Wish or want most for your children?
What I wish and really want most for my children is just peace and prosperity, and for them to fulfill destiny, to be the best they can be, in life. I just wish them joy, and I wish them victory. Because some of the things in life you will never, what is the term? You won't be able to know what's going to happen. But just for them to be able to handle whatever comes their way, to have the tools for life, to be able to help others, and never be selfish people, and just live and be humble people. Yeah, that's the greatest for me. I think the wealth I see for them is people, not really in things. Yeah, I think that is what I wish for them, to recognize human beings as human beings. Yeah. And to take care of the world.
Okay, so we managed to get Nali a bit occupied for a few things. But the next question I wanted to ask you, Ma, is if you could redo one thing in your life, redo it, not necessarily undo it, but to redo something. Maybe if you would change it, or maybe it's just to do it again, experience something again. So you have the decision to answer it how you want, to do it differently, or to experience that again. What would it be?
You know what? I will talk about redoing things. I think when we were younger, and we also had so much to do in church. Honestly, that part for me, I feel that it was a time where I plunged myself so much into what I was doing and not give enough time to kids the way I could have, because of it was just one thing after another, like this. It's coming like this. It was not a long time, but it was a time which I wish I could have done it differently. Because after the wake-up call, after I woke up, I'm like, hey, I don't have to say yes to everything, at the expense of my children because they are too young or they cannot complain or. And that was a time I would, if given an opportunity, I would do it better. I would add more hours spending with them. And that is just the one thing I wish I could. And then to redo was just the fun I had, especially before school started, before they went to school. I would want to do that again, going to the beach, and just spending the time and watching the waters and the splashes and the tasting of the different foods and introducing, that was really fun. One thing that was a thing for me was to watch my kids enjoy a taste of a new thing. They've never tasted this before. And then I want to see how they responded to it. Yeah, that was because I love exploring. I don't like monotony, and so when that would happen, to see them get into new spaces, meeting different people, that was for me, a thing. That's something I would always, I will still enjoy. Just enjoying different cultures, and that's the big thing for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we are on the sixth question. What's one thing you want me to always remember after you're gone?
I want you to remember that I love you. I want you to remember that the way you are, I don't regret anything. I want you to know I am satisfied. You know what? I say, when the angel came to Mary, what did he say?
Blessed are thou
Among women. Yay! I want you to know that that is the one thing that I know I am blessed among women. When I'm gone, nothing else should matter most, but that this woman who's lying there loves me. Yeah, and I don't know what happens and what goes on after life, but I think I'll still love you then. You will be in whatever tight corner. I know those things come, but if your memory of me gives you a consolation to say, my mother loves me. I don't think love dies. It will not die when I die. I think that's the one thing I want you to know. And all what love brings with. That's the one thing I just want you to know. Yeah, and in ages to come and generations to come. It might be something that you're very confident. Hey, Mina, I know my mom loves me. Isn't my mom loved me? My mom loves me. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that's the one thing I really want you to remember. That I also don't want you to be proud. I say that. I don't like that. I don't like proud people. I don't like pride, because people are people. I just don't like pride. I don't want people who are self-conceited. They think they are something when we know we actually are just human beings. So I think that is something I always would want you to remember, because those moments would come. Achievement wants to hang around pride. Or pride loves to hang around achievement. Yeah. So let humility be your other name. I say, Pastor J. That man is a humble man. Those people, sometimes they look at us and say, oh, ministry, it's easy. Yeah, if they can do it. Someone said, you make ministry look easy, but it's not easy. When they look at me, I laugh and I go easy. But the things that you would need to carry behind the scene, that's what's important. That they would lift you up and keep you sane and humble. That is a very important element. I think that's where promotion resides. That's the one thing. And never look down on another human being. Never, because there's something great. You see someone sweeping in the streets and you're like, oh, these people. There's something great in these people. They never got the opportunity to exhaust it, to mine it out of them. They never were there. I was telling a mother recently, the daughter was going to graduate a PhD. I was like, Mama, it's because you did not have the chance, the opportunity to go to the school that you took your daughter to. But you are a great woman. So I just want you to remember that, you must remember that after I'm gone.
Yeah. Thank you. And the last one, I think we might do this. Yeah, we'll make another video of this. 7 more questions next year.
Okay.
But the next one is, what do you want to tell your grand and great grandkids?
What would I want to tell them? I'm just hoping that the children I raised would raise them after the same basic culture of knowing God, and just to know the main reason for life is to love God, and to love people. Yeah, so that they have to leave a mark. It's very good to not waste on your words, waste on your energy. I like it when you say to me sometimes, but you taught us this, Waban, and you are the person who said this to me. That gives me like a sense of consolation to say, if the words I say are embedded in him, then he will live by that, And if he has proven that what I said is true, and you have seen that it's true, that it would be where you say you leave wealth for this generation and the generation to come. Because it is really, life is lived through principles, and that is something that I would say the principle we live by, me and you, they need to be deep enough so you can see them worthy to pass through your generation, and they are still relevant to my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren. I don't think that is cheap, because that is something lived through and thought through and seen the output, and say, aye, man, I can survive. If this kept my parents, this will keep me. I would want you to believe in that. Of course, there would, because of human imperfection, there would be those things that one says out of emotion. You must do it. But there are certain things that one needs to know. This is an investment. These are not just words I just picked up from Instagram, from some philosopher, some wise person. No, it is something that I have seen, and I count it dear to me, and say, because of that, I might not have left a lot of money in the bank, but here are words. Take these words with you. These words will buy you a house. These words will buy you peace. These words will give you what no man can give you. So they are able to find room in your heart, and they stay there. They are unshakable. So I feel, as far my parents didn't really leave me much. Like they spent all what they had on us a lot, and they even had to take care of the grandchildren. But I'm saying to you, there are certain things they taught me. And I'm like, yeah, this is exactly what they meant. This is exactly what I'm living by, and exactly what I'm teaching my children to live by. And I find value. There's no competition with what they said. I still find them valid and relevant and needed. Yeah, but so they transcend fashion and trends. Wow, they go beyond that. So this is what I would want my grandchildren to know, and say, this is what even if they don't say, oh, this is what my grandparents said, but because as parents, you pass them on, it will be recorded as this actually began through the mouth of their grandmother. This is what was said. I've redefined wealth. I've redefined wealth. For me, I do want to live in a comfortable house. I don't want to drive a safe car. I don't want to go to, But there's something that is at the core of life, and I feel it's able to reproduce, it's able to grow again, and stand against the test of time. Yeah, so that to me is wealth. Yeah, I think if you can remember those, my son, that would be something I've left for you. So I don't mean that I want to leave you penniless. You will find a little bit of something, At times I'm saying much beyond that. It has to be words. I think God, when He created the world, He spoke. He used words. So I always say, create your world with your words. You have a painful world because of your words. You have a positive world because of your words. You have a blooming world because of your words. So that's important.
Yeah, no. I think those were the 7 questions, and you answered them amazing. And this video is coming out on Mother's Day. So because it's released on Mother's Day, I'm saying Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm also saying thank you for everything that you've done. Also want you to know that I love you in this world and the next as well. And I think I would also consider myself blessed for all the steps that you've made and decisions that have, even today, you were supposed to wear a shirt, a shirt that looks like this for church, and you're like, I'd rather you wear it. And thank you for just being a great mother. I wouldn't choose any other one.
Thank you.
So, but that was the video. We'll make another one another time. And thank you for all your words. It's meant a lot.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you saying something else?
No.
Okay. Okay, so for everyone watching, you can ask your mom the same questions. I actually got this idea from a content creator. I'll find the name. I forgot the name. I'm going to put it up where you can actually just to give credit to where credit is due. But we are going to make this every year. I think it'll be quite cool just to add questions on Mother's Day to ask your mom.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll be asking you. But that's the Makopo podcast, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a challenge to shoot this video because My niece is here and she loves life and she's very expressive. So, but we did it. We did it. Yeah. So thank you, Ma.
You're welcome.
And we'll make another video another time.
That's good.
Okay. Okay, guys. Take care. Send this to your mom. You can do a video of your own as well. And we'll see you on the next episode. Take care. We're out. Yeah, we're out. Yeah, we're